Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Zamboni Zone. Today on the show, since we're becoming such a success here on YouTube, we brought our favorite guest star, Melody Martin. So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm just sitting here watching hockey, which is just making me angry, So
if you don't know, Mel has her own channel. We have mentioned it before.
And the rerun, right?
It's true you play a little hockey as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I do.
And you happen to have a channel for that by any chance?
Funny you should mention it. I do. We have the Red Wings PXHL channel. It's for our beer league hockey team. We've been waiting for months to post content on it, but unfortunately we can't right now. But when we do, it'll be there.
Well, I look forward to watching those, considering I'm probably going to be in some of them.
Maybe. Depends if I cut you.
I like to make a cameo once in a while on other channels, but...
You can try.
You're editing, yeah. So...
Watch out for the upcoming Peter's Greatest Highlights video where we showcase every goal he's ever scored.
Okay, anyways, on to our first segment of the show. Best chirps. By any chance, do either of you have some good chirps that you would throw at an opponent if you were a little angry at them, let's say?
No?
Well, Peter, you've got worse hands than a digital clock.
It's a good one. I don't think anyone's ever heard that one before.
That's about the best I got right now.
Well, you're playing worse than the New York State tolls out there because you just let that guy through the easy pass lane.
Oh, you got you there.
Are you a nail? Because you get hammered by everybody.
But they call you Yancey's Fancy because you play like Swiss cheese.
Okay then, and moving on. Our next segment, Seattle. New expansion team. And since you're new to the channel, why don't you talk about Seattle a little? What do you think so far?
So far, so good. I already like them more than I like the Sabres. I love their uniforms. You guys like their uniforms?
I do. I like they use deep sea blue, and I forgot what the other color, ice blue I think it was called. Yeah, so
I'm definitely gonna buy one of those jerseys as soon as Ryan Miller starts playing for them.
It's gonna be something I look into. So go ahead and hang up on this wall here.
I'm gonna wear that Miller jersey around you all day because I know you'll hate it very much.
Ryan Miller, you talking about?
Yeah, Ryan Miller.
You do hate Ryan Miller. That's right.
True American goaltender.
Isn't
That's
he
correct.
A Duck still though.
Expansion draft sooner than you think.
There's a prediction right there. He's predicting that Ryan Miller will be taken in the expansion draft by the Seattle team. And will be their starting or backup goaltender?
No, third string, that's correct.
Third string, okay. You really don't think there's any other better Ducks that they could take?
Maybe like a Golden Mallard.
Anyways, great jerseys. That city, it's up and coming, so definitely they got a lot of tech industry there. They're going to have a real expensive fan base, from what I can tell.
Now they're the new closest city to Vancouver, making them my new favorite rival of Vancouver.
Now, that's one of the things I noticed. I noticed that all the Pacific Northwest and California type teams, a lot of them, they use animals that are water-based. Like, you got the Ducks, you got the Sharks, water-based, you got the
Kings.
The Canucks are an orca for their logo, so that's also... And now you got a squid for the Kraken. So, I guess there's a water theme going on there.
They don't mess around. They just stick with what they know.
Especially the Coyotes.
Yeah, I've never seen a coyote swim, but...
Google it. Right now.
I just may.
YouTube it.
Let's move on. Bye-week teams. Out of all those bye-week teams, we have Seattle, Washington, Vegas, Dallas, Colorado, Tampa Bay, Philadelphia, and Boston.
Seattle's a bye-week team?
St. Louis. I don't know why I said you got me.
A team and they're just going to go straight into the
Yeah, you got me thinking.
playoffs.
You got me on the wrong track because our last topic was Seattle, so I saw the STL and I read it as Seattle instead of St. Louis. So
I pick Seattle to win the cup now.
Seattle to win the cup. Okay, so that's our next thing. We'll get into that in this moment. But first, let's start with our first bye-week team, St. Louis. I know that's your favorite team, Kaz. So you might be wearing the wrong shirt today, but let's hear about what you think of St. Louis there.
St. Louis, great city, but unfortunately they'll probably get booted out in the first round due to the St. Louis Arch collapsing. The arches end up going to somehow fall on the arena, despite the fact I don't believe geographically it's right next to the arena. The arena will be crushed in a devastating fire, resulting in St. Louis having to move to their AHL affiliate arena, where they will then join the AHL as Seattle's new AHL affiliate farm team.
Well, I have just one hole to poke in that theory there. They're playing in a hub city. They're not playing in St. Louis.
Gosh
So,
darn it, you're right.
I don't think that'll be an issue. They're in Edmonton.
Instead, what's going to happen is the St. Louis Arch will then be moved to Edmonton, where it will fall on Rexall Place, crushing it in a devastating fire, forcing St. Louis to relocate to their...
Just one more thing there.
Yeah.
They're no longer in Rexall Place.
Oh yeah?
That's their former arena. Moving on, what do you think about Washington? Either of you. I mean, Washington, great team. Ovechkin's still young enough that he's in his prime. We got Backstrom, underrated player all the time. Carlson, he makes that power play happen. You know, he works the point from all angles. And what do you think of the Capitals there?
I like them.
Okay.
I'll always root for Ovi. What I wouldn't give to see another, Stanley Cup party with Alex Ovechkin and the Capitals, that's living right there. Just doing keg stands from the Stanley Cup.
A lot of respect for TJ Oshie. You know, his father, unfortunately sick, but it's great that he was able to see his son win a cup, and he'll remember that one for sure. So, heartwarming moment there.
Well, it's just a shame, in my opinion, that Nicholas Backstrom never got to play with Nicholas Backstrom, the greatest goaltender ever to play for the Minnesota Wild.
I know we're all disappointed with that, too. Vegas. Kaz, you picked them as your sleeper earlier today. What do you think about Vegas?
I think Vegas is a very fun city. Lost a lot of money there once, so I would not go back anytime soon. And it's a great way to stay in shape.
Marc-Andre Fleury, solid competitor. You know, the Penguins might have that same issue with the expansion draft again this year. They might lose Murray, and they'll go on to be an all-star in Seattle. And,
Seattle.
Not Seattle. And it'll be the same situation
all the more
over
supporting
again.
my theory that St. Louis will become the AHL farm team.
Somehow, this STL and whatever Seattle
really
uses as their
probably SEA.
abbreviation.
It's pretty obvious.
It's going to throw me off, though, for a while. I'm just going to be honest with that. So, Mel, any opinion about Vegas there?
I hate Vegas. Hate them. They way too much success too fast. They're in the league 3 years, and they're already just constant contenders every year.
And the Golden Knights are one of my least favorite aquatic animals.
Well, if you hate Vegas, you're going to hate this next team, because it's Dallas. The Dallas Stars. According to Kaz, they should be booted out of the league, and I agree, for their 99 cup infraction. Probably the only team we hate more than Vancouver on this show. And, I'll try to be objective here on the show. They have great players. They got Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn. Ben Bishop is solid goaltender. He's huge. He covers the whole net. So Klingberg up and coming, and Heiskanen. So a lot of bright future there. Probably brighter than the Sabres at this point with the way we've been playing. But
at the same time, they do seem to have some disciplinary issues with their players going off. In the media. There's
and definitely certain body parts they should keep out of the crease there, because I'm pretty sure that's against the rules. All right, Mel.
Colorado.
But yeah, Mel, bring us up to speed on Colorado here.
So Colorado's going to win the Stanley Cup this year, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they have me rooting for them kind of might be an issue, but they're going to win the Cup. Nathan McKinnon is just, you saw he just dominated this year. You got Landeskog, you got Rantanen, Cale Makar. They got the Hart finalist and the Calder finalist.
For sure, Rantanen's an absolute beast, though. That kid. He takes that puck. He'll just carry it around the whole zone for 5 minutes, just carrying it until he can find that pass that sets up McKinnon for a goal.
Mm-hmm.
So very underappreciated because he's overshadowed by McKinnon, but Rantanen, definitely a sleeper candidate to watch there. He's definitely one of the MVPs in this league.
Do you know where their starting goaltender is?
Do I know who their starting goaltender is?
Yeah.
Is it not Ryan Miller?
It's pretty sure it's Philip Grubauer.
Oh, so that's not Ryan Miller.
This morning we couldn't figure it out. For a second there I thought it was Bernier, but I remembered he's
Bernier.
No longer their starter, and now it's Grubauer, so we got a good laugh out of that because, remembering all the bad goals he let in Toronto. So, on to our next team, the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've choked many times in the past few years. They've had
Columbus.
They couldn't even get past a Tortorella-led Columbus team. And for some reason, people still keep picking them to win the Stanley Cup. I don't know why at this point. I would love to see Stamkos win a cup, but not if it means the Flames aren't going to win, because I'm a big Flames fan here. Or at least the Coyotes, they would be great too.
Yeah, I mean, I predict same thing as always. They're gonna start off well, and then they're just gonna choke it out, and that'll be the end of that. So.
But Victor Hedman is going to score.
No, not Hedman.
Victor Hedman's going to score.
Tyler Johnson is going to score all the goals for the entire series.
That's it.
Tyler Johnson.
I remember when I thought he was going to be a great fantasy asset. Horrible decision.
So Philadelphia playing right now. We had a little bet going on that. Right now, Philly's in the lead, 2-1. I predicted they would win 4-3. You predicted
3-1 Pittsburgh.
3-1 Pittsburgh.
I'm out.
Oh, actually, by mistake, I predicted Pittsburgh would win against Philly 4-3,
yes.
not the other way around.
So you're still in this?
But it's still eligible to happen. The game's not over yet. And I've seen a lot of great play for them so far. They're competing against one of the best teams in the league here that seems to be competitive every year. So I don't know. What do you think?
I don't like the orange.
No, I love the orange.
You like the orange?
I actually.
It's not for me.
I gotta say, their fans are really misbehaving right now.
Yeah, this arena.
Throwing bracelets on the ice and stuff.
Arena's full with Flyers fans. Probably the most violent fans in the league, if you had to take a poll.
Shane Gostisbehere is still one of my favorite players, though, despite the fact that he's been benched.
Well, throwback to the Winter Classic, way back when Flyers played the Rangers, they actually beat up a Rangers fan, so hopefully the Flyers fans will be able to behave themselves this time.
I don't know if I'm ready to see Gritty with the Stanley Cup, though. I want to be real.
Ooh, I didn't even think of that.
That might be an issue.
But to correct our episode from earlier, Carter Hart, that's the guy I was trying to think of. Anyways, Boston, everyone's favorite team. Brad Marchand, classy player.
Where'd all the Bruins jerseys go?
Brad Marchand, everyone's favorite player. Some say he looks like a rat. Others say he looks like a star. Mel, what do you think? Star player or rat?
Have you seen his face? It's one of the biggest rat faces I've ever seen in my life.
So we got one vote for rat. What do we got here?
Have you seen the way he nibbles other players' ears?
2 votes for rat. I'm going to third that and say he's a rat. As much as I don't really care. I don't hate Boston, but I don't like Boston. I just kind of neutral on Boston. I'm one of the few, probably, but just don't care. I don't really
look at your
watch
favorite
them.
player.
They're definitely very arrogant. Who you pointing at there?
Patrick Marleau.
Patrick Marleau? Yes. For the viewers at home, we do have the game on in the background behind the camera there, so got to keep tabs on the Flyers and Penguins while we watch this. And that was our final bye-week team. So let's get on to our next segment here. Mel's picks. Mel, who do you think? You said Colorado, but tell us why. Why is Colorado going to win the Cup?
One, they have the best uniforms in hockey. Have you seen that? Look at.
It's a beautiful
It's an
jersey.
A
And
with
that is the
avalanche?
old school. That's the old school version with the Peter Forsberg on the back,
Yeah.
actually.
Best uniforms in hockey. Best team in hockey. Just look at them. Look at their roster. It's stacked.
Yep.
Joe Sakic's their general manager. He's my all-time favorite player. So.
What more could you want?
What more can you want? Colorado. Look at them a few years ago. They were in last place. They understood what it took to rebuild a hockey team.
And then they legalized weed.
Now, before we get too off topic here, Kaz, Mel, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Who is your Eastern pick that they will face off against in the final?
In the final? That's a good question. I am going to say that they are going to go up against Boston because Boston, I feel like, was just too good this year, and I think Colorado will be the underdog in that battle, but they will come out on top
Because Tuukka Rask is going to be injured.
Well, the little rat will try to gnaw through the avalanche, but
It's not going to work.
nothing you can't gnaw through snow necessarily, so it's not going to work. All right. Now, a topic that's a little different from the NHL. We have women's hockey as our next topic. We got the Buttes recently in Buffalo, joined the league about, 5-6 years ago now. They managed to win a championship, something most Buffalo teams don't do. It was a very heavy upset against Boston, actually, believe it or not. And what do you think the future of women's hockey is, Mel?
Well, obviously, with the play being stopped right now, it's probably going to be a tough situation trying to come back, especially, with all the top players in the league and in the world really sitting out now with this Canadian league folding. And, none of the top players are really interested in playing professionally right now because they just don't have the resources to to support them. It's just, I think it's going to be really tough to grow. I enjoy going to the games. I used to work at their home rink, so I got to see a little bit of their hockey, and I just feel like if they're serious about growing the game, they find a way to get the Olympians involved. Otherwise, I don't think it's going to work.
Well, I do think, although it was probably a bad thing that the Canadian League folded, it does provide the opportunity to have one league, one goal, and focus in on making one league a success. And if anyone can do it, I think the NWHL can. In the past, they had a lot of support from the NHL. Some of that kind of faded a little bit, but I still think a lot of teams would be willing to work with the smaller NWHL clubs and really make them a success. And the Buttes have done a interesting job staying alive. I mean, they moved into a rink that I wouldn't consider as nice. They moved out of the Harbor Center to the Northtown Center in Buffalo here, and I don't necessarily like that happened, but it brings them closer to their fan base because a lot of the young girls live in Amherst and Williamsville, and they play the youth hockey there, so it's a comfortable environment for them to go watch some games at.
Yeah, I mean, I wish them the best. I hope they do well. It was really exciting when they first came in, and it just seems like they're probably not headed in the right direction right now, but we'll see. I mean, hopefully when everything gets back, they got a plan, they figure out how they're going to make it work.
Just really hope for the best, and go Buttes.
Go Buttes.
So fantasy hockey. You, Kaz, myself, and a few others just happened to be in the same fantasy league this year.
Oh, how did that happen?
I commissioned that league, and I think I do a fair job, but some people would disagree. Mel, what do you think?
Well, I've never really heard of a fantasy league in which you add more teams in and you keep like 90% of your team. Like, we had 9 keepers.
Well, let me tell you.
Tell me all about it. I'd love to hear this explanation.
Our league's about 7 years old. Every time we get a new expansion club, new owner taking over a team, we have a keeper system where some players from the old season get to be kept by the original teams.
Sure.
And the new teams get to draft closer to the front of the draft, so they get a little draft advantage.
No. You'd think that, right?
I mean, they do, though.
No. We drafted. I'm like, okay, well, if they keep 9, then we get the next 9. Me and Eric, the two expansion teams.
It's not.
We get the next 9. No. We start picking, and then me and Eric get like 1 pick, and then look, it's all the other teams. They get right in there. So like, how is I expected to do well at all? How is that supposed to work?
Well, that's the challenge of being an expansion team. We actually had an expansion team, Nick LQ's team. He went to the semifinals in his first season. The second season.
How many teams?
With I think it was 6 teams that year. We
only have 8 keepers?
We only have 8 teams this year, though, so it's not like it's a big league. It's a much bigger league. It's 2 more teams.
9 keepers. 9.
I don't know what to tell you. You're just gonna have to be better.
How many keepers are we having this year? Assuming there is a year ever.
I honestly have not decided yet. I'm leaning towards a lot less than that since you complain so much. I'm thinking maybe 3 or 4, but no more than that. So. You'll get to keep your core players, like he'll get to keep McDavid, he happens to own McDavid. I'll get to keep Mikko Rantanen, I guess, I don't know.
I don't even remember who I had. I think I had I had Matt Barzal, I had Elias Pettersson.
I mean, Barzal and Pettersson, they're not bad.
I had a good draft, relatively speaking, with my options.
Kaz, I know you love Pettersson, you're a big Canucks fan. And so fantasy hockey, always a competition.
Always a sore spot, in my opinion.
He gets burned one too many times.
And this kid cheats a lot.
I would not agree with that, but...
Well, I wouldn't have had to write up a Word document if you hadn't cheated. So.
You'd have to be in the league for me to prove it. So.
Oh, there's a Word document.
He has a list of rules that
Proposition 2.
Agreed upon with the commissioner, which happens to be me.
Prevention of illegal trading and other things.
Okay, then. Well, and our final topic for the day, Mel, this one's for you. When will the suffering end in Buffalo?
The suffering ends when you choose to stop rooting for the Sabres. That has to be a personal choice, because if you choose to just keep going with this madness, you're going to keep suffering. But if you choose to let it go, you're done. It's over. So.
You know what? I don't know what to tell you. I'm just born and raised, Buffalo. I just can't let them go. They're my team.
So just never for you.
The Buffalo runs through the blood,
Unfortunately, that sounds like a lifetime of misery.
We got some Sabres jersey. We got a Sabres flag. Another Buttes jersey, which is a Buffalo team. So just Buffalo sports all around. I'm wearing a Buffalo shirt. Ignore the Vancouver hat. That was just from an earlier video. You got the Preds jersey, shirt, t-shirt, Preds t-shirt on. So
Yeah, the Blues are my team, though, too.
So you're cheating on the Blues and the Sabres
Yes,
with the Predators.
that's correct. Listen, I suffered through 9 years of following the Blues, waiting for them to win a Stanley Cup, so...
So what you're telling me is that the Sabres, having been out of the playoffs for so long now, but I believe it is 9 years, will now win a Stanley Cup.
In 2036.
Hopefully.
We'll see you next time.
Long after Eichel retires.
We'll see you next time.
My pick's Seattle to win the cup now. Like I'm
Seattle to win the cup. Okay, so well that's.